If you want to be successful, move to a big city.
You are who you surround yourself with, and you are the lifestyle that you live. So you have to change the lifestyle you're living and change the people you're surrounding yourself with, so then it aligns to where you want to go rather than just accepting what you've been given.
I've been seeing videos of people saying that you should move out of your hometown in your 20s, or you should travel the world while you're young, and the comments are always flooded with people being like, oh well, this is such a joke, like where am I gonna get this money? Like you need to come from money in order to live a life like this. But I disagree, and I'm not denying the fact that it is really fucking expensive. But if money is the main concern, I'm like, I think the problem here is this self-limiting belief that you're not gonna have enough money. Like you should be a little bit more delusional and believe in your future self.
We need to start pulling up to potential. We gotta start meeting our goals halfway. We gotta start adding the practicality to the theories behind our dreams, because when I tell you the second you start pulling up to your goals, it's like God and the universe start working in your favor, and it gets better. Everything starts flowing in alignment with who we say we want to be.
Your destiny, it's not just about the right time, it's about being at the right place. I learned this early on in my own life. If I did not move to Los Angeles, my life would be completely different. My destiny was always tied to this place.
Place yourself in environments that are congruent with the vision. And that's why we have to talk about the vision. Do you have a vision? Do you know where you're going? Do you know what you desire out of your life? If not, then you probably will not go anywhere in particular. This is where good people, ambitious people, people with dreams become mediocre.
You cannot be scared to move. You cannot be scared to shake things up. You are not a tree. You can move. Position yourself to allow opportunities to unfold for you.
Because the amount of opportunities that I have come across simply because I left my hometown is just astronomical. I'm getting opportunities that are falling in my lap every single day that I never would have gotten if I would have stayed.
But if you aren't already frequenting luxurious locations, you can't just expect that to magically come into your life.
Meaning you have to engage in small activities every single day that begin to romanticize your life, that begin to tell your brain and your cognitive processing that you're already living that lifestyle.
Google the word income by your zip code or the zip code that you're visiting. Then see which neighboring areas have the highest median income. Now, go to those areas for your errands. I'm talking coffee shops, dry cleaners, grocery shopping, cafes, bookstores, gyms, smoothie shops, happy hours, brunch, you name it.
So when I have time, I'm not at home. I'm in that neighborhood. And the energy was so aggravating. The energy was so yummy to my soul. It kept me motivated to open up the doors for however this is going to come into my life.
I have to regularly frequent expensive places, and I love doing this particularly if I'm on work trips, or you can do this in the city that you're in. This is budget friendly. It's free. Like you can literally I always go to the most expensive shopping area when I'm traveling, so in LA, in Miami, and I will literally just walk the stores. I'll go into Saint Laurent, they'll pour you some champagne, you touch the clothes, you feel the clothes, you look at the people shopping, and then you walk out with nothing. You want to begin to train your mind of going to expensive and expansive places. Your mind will begin to think that these things are regular.
And that is a hack for you to be around a certain kind of wealth, a certain kind of lifestyle, absorb the energy, meet people, and just another way to elevate yourself.
I joined a more expensive gym just because when I was walking into the gym every single day, the car park was full of Porsches, full of G-Wagons. I was walking around and I knew I was around rich people and millionaires. And the reason that's so important is it makes the world of a difference surrounding yourself in that environment and those people, because it makes your dreams seem more realistic and more achievable.
You have to expose yourself to things early in life. This is my suggestion. Do whatever you got to do to upgrade to first class. If it's spend a little bit more money, it's sometimes when you buy the coach ticket, when you get at the counter, just ask them, how much is an upgrade? If they say $75, just pay it one time. What happens is, once you sit in that first class seat, you have now been exposed. The game changes now. When you see that there's actually room on each side of you in first class, when you discover that you can slouch in your seat, that your arm does not have to touch the other person's arm, that they're gonna bring you a hot towel, they're gonna give you a menu, They're going to let you drink all you want. You ain't got to buy the headsets. Once you fly first class, it conditions your mind to look and think for first class opportunities. And then your mind starts thinking of ways to get back to first class. And guess what? That's what you start attracting to your life. And you start behaving and producing stuff to get you back into first class.
The next best thing is
I want you to start saving for either a staycation or a vacation. So what you're gonna do is you are gonna find a really beautiful home. It could be a 6-bedroom home, or maybe it's a beautiful condo or apartment, or maybe you go on vacation to a resort, or maybe you wanna live in LA and you rent a really beautiful home just for a day or just for a night in LA. Maybe your higher self lives in New York. Maybe your higher self lives in Nashville, wherever it may be. Maybe it lives in your current city and that's where you want to stay. So book a staycation there in a beautiful home, a beautiful apartment, whatever it may be. And I want you to live a very regular day in the life of your higher self. Let me set the scene for you. You get a 3-bedroom modern home in Atlanta, Georgia, and you book it for 2 nights on Airbnb. Now, you go in, you set your stuff aside, put your clothes up, put everything in the bathroom, act like this is your home. The next day, you're gonna have this higher self day. You're gonna wake up at 5:30 in the morning or whenever she wakes up. You're gonna journal and you're gonna meditate in their home. You're gonna feel the energy as if this is your home. Really be in that frequency. Maybe you go as far as to even rent the car that you wanna buy one day. Maybe you get in this car and you go to a Pilates class and you get a smoothie afterwards and you come home and maybe you have a massage book. Maybe you have a shopping day and you treat yourself, but you're not really treating yourself because this is the type of stuff that your higher self does. This isn't treating yourself. This is just day-to-day regular stuff. And you have dinner at your favorite restaurant alone. You look good and you put on all your expensive body butters and perfumes and your best outfits. Maybe you got your hair done beforehand, so you just look and you feel your best. And at the end of the day, I really want you to reflect on the day that you have, because this is the true power of manifestation. You literally lived it. You felt the feelings. You felt the frequency. You felt the energy of that day. I want you to always remember that feeling when you go back home, when you go back to reality. See what aligned steps you need to take to get to that version, because you've already felt it. You've already been in that environment. You know that it's possible. Now we just need to associate ourselves with the identity of that woman that is in that environment and take aligned actions to get to that woman.
the next thing I did was I narrowed down where I'd want to live, and I started visiting apartments, and I would walk in the apartments and just soak in the energy, and I would even take a picture of myself in that apartment.
Find that little cute apartment and move. But
do not spend your money and live somewhere just because it's cheap, when you can really go over your finances and live where you will have the best quality of life.
So not only move out, but move into a nice city.
Because your rent is paying for the land, the lifestyle, the healthy food that's within, your city's perimeters. It's paying for the type of people you're going to meet. The quality of life is what matters. So if you can make it make sense, do not waste your dollars because something is cheap.
But I did save up hella money just in case there's going to be months where I couldn't afford the rent or I didn't have the money coming in. So this isn't your sign to be stupid, like have a plan.
But I understood that this was an investment of getting in and connecting with people that were of higher socioeconomic status than myself and helping to elevate my life, because your connections and the people that you are around, that does influence your life too, and what you can achieve and what you can get and who you meet and opportunities.
And there's something that happens with us as humans. When you are surrounded by those who are like superior in their performance than you are, you're bound to be lifted up if you're as ambitious. If not, you're wasting everyone's time.
Take starting a YouTube channel, for example, and getting 100,000 subscribers. If you are surrounding yourself with small minds, they are gonna hype you up and they are gonna make you think you're the shit, to the point where it keeps you stagnant, because you've already got all of that validation and all of these people around you are so impressed by what you're doing, you can't even see that you haven't reached half of your potential yet. Whereas if you have those same 100,000 subscribers, but you are networking with millionaires and business owners and people have already done that, Sure, they're going to compliment you, they're going to say congratulations, but they are going to push you to keep going. Most importantly, you're going to see everything they're capable of and everything they went on to achieve, that it's going to make you feel like you're at the start of your journey. And that is the answer to success.
If you're surrounding yourself with people who are okay with working a minimum wage job their whole entire life, you're gonna stay stuck.
You even making like 80 grand a year, you're gonna feel like the fucking man. And that's a problem, because then you're gonna start to limit yourself and you're probably gonna get a bit of an ego.
But if you're making $100,000 a year and you move to an environment or surround yourself in an environment where everyone around you makes over $1 million, 100,000 is gonna look extremely embarrassing.
It's not even that you're comparing yourself to other people, it's that you're seeing what other people are doing, and that's like unlocking a new level of thinking for you and proving to yourself that it's possible for you.
Because imagine like you're hanging out with a bunch of smart rich people and they're literally telling you how to get rich step by step, and you're actually dumb enough not to do it.
Instantly, you're gonna start thinking, well, how do I make $1 million? Your thought process, your energy levels, and your focus and the way of thinking is changing, not because of anything other than proximity and the surroundings that you have yourself in.
I literally moved from Maryland to Miami into a luxury apartment at 19. If I told y'all how much rent was, y'all would not believe me, because it's ridiculous for someone who's a college student, period. And then once I moved here, my friends started doing the same thing, which is moving into luxury apartments, because if I can do it, why can't they? That's exactly the mindset you should have. Them coming to see my luxury apartment was their motivation to get their stuff together so they can get one too.
What I learned from moving to a place where I didn't know anybody and being isolated and uncomfortable was I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the things I wanted, and I learned a lot about the people that I wanted around me. See, when you live in your hometown, you already have your bubble. You have the people you know, you have your friends you know. But
once you remove the safety net of living in your hometown, living with your parents, you force yourself to figure it the fuck out.
You're either going to get really stressed out because you're not at home, stuff is more expensive, you don't have any friends, you're going to hate it, do nothing about the fact that you hate it, and then have to move back home. Or you're going to face that same stress, but instead of crumbling, you're going to figure it out.
Because
when you have your own stuff, you have rent to pay for, sinking is just not an option. I grinded, and I persevered, bro. That probably would not have happened if I still lived at my dad's house. Like, the pressure of sink or swim was so hard.
So I understand it when people say, oh, you should live at home as long as you possibly can, save money, blah, blah, blah. But you can also argue that you should go and put more pressure on yourself while you're young.
You need to have this thing called optimal anxiety to be able to grow for your personal development. Optimal anxiety is where you expose yourself to just the right amount of stress where you're forced to change and grow.
I need the reality check that there's so many people doing so much more than just having a mediocre entry-level job after graduation.
When I graduated high school, I moved to the much bigger city of Atlanta for school. The quality of competition of my peers increased tenfold. The value of my connections with powerful people grew tenfold. And then after 4 years of Georgia Tech, I moved to San Francisco. The same thing happened again. Professor Scott Galloway says the same thing, and he says that moving to a big city is like playing tennis against Roger Federer. When the quality of your competition goes up dramatically, so does your own skill set. So in my opinion, if you can, you should do everything in your power to move to a big city. The very top of the list being San Francisco or New York City. There's also Seattle, Chicago, Austin, and then also places like Boston or Atlanta. But I can tell you with complete and utter certainty that if I had stayed in Albuquerque and never moved to a bigger and bigger city, I would be fractions of as successful as I am now.
You can always go back. You can always go visit. But do it.
leave home. Leave home. I promise. What's the worst thing that can happen? Right? The worst thing that can happen is what, you have to move back home? Well, at least you can say you tried.
I will not accept life I do not deserve.